Welcome to the Awakening podcast, where we have truth tellers instead of whistleblowers, where we have facts instead of conspiracy theorists. And today, my guest is actually in the same city as myself. Mateusz, please welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. It's a big pleasure to be with you today. Thank you, Roy, for inviting me.
No problem. So you might tell the audience what your journey is.
Okay, so let's say the first step of my journey, like why we are here. I think this is the biggest reason it's worth to discuss. Like I'm a emotional intelligence trainer and researcher, and like let's say my personal mission, and it's connected very much to the professional vision, is to boost personal consciousness, self-consciousness, consciousness about your emotions, your personal meaning, values, and identity. And like as we discussed, it's very connected to boost the global consciousness, because when you're discovering what's inside of you, who you really are, not the facades which were created by society, even your parents, it's helping you to understand like where you would like to go and how you'd like to influence in the different areas in the world, in your environment.
And like, how did you get into the studies?
Like, let's be honest, I think this is a pretty history of a lot of people. Like I started in the corporate world. I was corporate trainer, domain trainer. I was implementing SAP around the world. And but I felt this is not my thing, because like I love to interact with the people. But at the end, it was like typically technological stuff.
Come on, what's SAP to the people that don't know? What's SAP?
Like there's somebody who doesn't know. I'm joking. Yes, SAP, it's like a system which can be introduced for some online shopping, purchasing, helping like in a big organization to, let's say, standardize different kind of processes.
Okay.
So that was like pretty technological thing. But the thing which was exciting me the most is to be with the people, like to be in touch with the different people, to interact, to create this festival of energy, to meet challenges, and to help them to go through the change, because pretty often the system was implemented in some areas where they was using some old system, 20 different systems, and boom, one day, and there's one new. So that was pretty challenging. But I felt that, let's say, this part of corporate world, it's not like what is written inside of me, and I start to follow it. And I start the journey within the soft skills trainings, like typically art of presentation trainings. But still in this area, I felt that there's something more, and I start to dig, and I discover the outstanding world of emotional intelligence, because like every single one of us has an access to the more or less to the affective world, emotional world. And when you will, let's say, embrace the way how you are with this emotional aspect, it's like you gain completely new perspective in your life, new quality of your life. And this is generally what I'm doing. I'm boosting, I'm helping, I'm inspiring people to reach this world of emotions, which, let's be honest, in our world, it's pretty complicated. And like people don't want to go to emotional. We have different paradigms which are stating emotions are good or bad. There are no good and bad emotions. Every emotion is an information coming from our brain. Yeah. So this is it. Like today, I'm really close to my personal mission vision, and it's to help people to develop themselves, to experience the self-discovery inside of them, and by this to boost as well this global consciousness about themselves, about the world environment, and break this painful paradigms where they are born with.
I remember years ago, I think it was Daniel Goldberg, the book Emotional.
Goleman. Yes.
So I remember reading that and thinking, because like if we go through the school system, it's more memory, and they don't look at the different things that that you can possess.
Let's be honest, the school is like one of the systems which is introducing very painful paradigms in our life. And we are developing one kind of intelligence, rational intelligence, analytical skills, etc., memorizing, etc. But like what's giving you like the big boost in your professional or personal life is how you're building relationship. How you're growing up your children if you're a parent, how you're building relationship with your partner, with your workers. And this is hidden in emotional intelligence, how you're dealing with your emotions, how you're dealing with emotions of other people. It's like a very big subject. But let's say we are left alone in the system. The system is not helping you at all. More, the system wants you to suit to some kind of shape which you're not this shape. Yeah. This is like as we were discussing even previously.
No, like the system kind of, I think it trains you to take a job and to be compliant. Exactly. And they don't teach you about finances or anything. It's just the whole thing is, it needs to be twisted. It's totally wrong.
The system is helping you actually in one thing, to suit to the system, to suit to itself.
Yeah.
It's not helping you to become your truly self. And I don't want to, let's say, to say that it's like use this motivational, like become yourself. It's not just motivational quote. If you're gonna follow psychology, humanistic psychology, humanistic approach towards it, every single one of us has an access, has a potential to become yourself, like to break these frontiers of social frame, these facades which we are creating through all our life. So everybody has a potential to become one true self. Just in this case, you should sometimes, let's say, challenge the status quo, challenge the system, yes, which is always saying, like you should be the square, your circle, forget about it, you should be the square.
And like the problem now is when you realize that society has made people attack you for stepping out of the box.
Yes, of course. Let's be honest. Social frame somehow is protecting us. Yes, it's protecting like me somehow. The social frame that I will get naked and start to make some dance show. Yes, but so there is some good stuff which is, let's say, protecting us, just building some kind of security. But it's pushing too much, because even if you're gonna go with some innovative thought, or you will break some personal frontier and you somehow start to be more assertive thanks to developing emotional intelligence, or to reaching your identity or values, at the end people, very often very close people, will start to push you, like what you're doing. You're not the same as you were. So let's say the system is protected by the people who are blindly following the rules, the paradigms which they thinking they are on their own, they are creation, and this is just the system implementation inside your brain.
Yeah, and like what I'm finding is, obviously I'm stepping outside of the box, I'm exposing a lot of corruption, and a lot of people, they're afraid to even post something on Facebook, they're afraid to but they come up to me and they're on board, but they're afraid of what other people will think, so they don't want to post something.
It's one like of the main things which is blocking people, what other will think about me. This again, social frame, the closest on, oh no, it will make me, they will laugh from me and different stuff. So, but this is one of, let's say, protections of the system, how the people are behaving in this, yes. But the moment, this is why for me, the self-discovery is so important, so crucial. The moment when you're reaching the true self, you're reaching your values, your personal meaning, you start to watch the world differently. You want to take proactively responsibility in areas which you before didn't even saw, and you want to make an action. You want to sometimes like say something against the flow of the system, and it's needed. Come on, like I'm not talking about some revolutionary stuff, who knows? But like at the end, to just show that you are following yourself, and you see how the system, let's say, it's disturbing to become your true self.
Yeah, and like what I find is, like, I've learned that I just say what I feel. I don't ever do anything to intentionally hurt somebody. It's just I kind of say it as it is. And people tend to not like that. But then when you're your true self, you surround yourself with way more people that they actually appreciate. Exactly. Even if you're saying something sometimes they're against, they go, at least you're actually saying how you feel.
At some point of your life, you will attract people who are as well on some discovery path. And this is one of the most beautiful things. We can have different opinions in different matters, but at the end, I respect you as a human being. I even adore our differences. And this is because it's very connected. If at some point of my life, I will start, it's part of like self-esteem, how I see myself, how I feel myself. When I will start to feel myself and accept what I will find there, we don't want to dig inside of us. Let's be honest, there are some beautiful things, there are treasures, even like emotional, meaningful, full of values, but there is as well the dark side. Everybody, which is pretty, can bring some shame, and we don't like it. But like even I will follow here Carl Rogers, one of my mentors and authorities in like self-discovery path. When you will approve what you found, you have the courage and the empathy for yourself to dig in, to watch inside of yourself as much as you can. You will see the light, which you will, let's say, amuse you, help you more understand you, but you will see as well the darkness, which is making you feeling not so comfortable with yourself. But the truly potential of self-consciousness and everything which is after this, it's to accept what I find here. And like even you will watch like, oh, you should at some point say no to yourself and become somebody else. And this is actually what the systems wants to think you, because like you become somebody else, so you're becoming far away from the system of values and from this awakening which can happen. You just become copy of somebody else. Yeah. And when you will reach yourself inside, accept what you will find there, it's like revolution even inside of you, and you become like better you. And this is amazing moment, because sometimes it can be like step by step, but sometimes it can be a revolution, then like wow moment in my life, and you feel suddenly this kind of harmony, like, oh my God, I'm worth to like myself, I'm worth to love myself. And coming back to our discussion, when I will approve and find this value inside of me, I will start to find it in other people. And if I'm gonna punish myself through life, yes, they're like, oh, in Poland we have attitude, unfortunately, to punish. I'm gonna do 100 things good, but 100 first will be bad, and I will be punishing myself for the last one. I'm punishing you inside. If I have minus inside, it will be radiating like a prism. But if I have some self-respect, this self-acceptance, it will improve my relationship. But this is the biggest and the most challenging work, to go there, to dig and find this light and darkness.
No, definitely. And what I've seen it in a few events, breath work, that people, if they do the breath work, that releases a lot of emotions, because a lot of times they're trapped. We don't even know what happened to us at different ages. That's something that has conditioned us through life. And then if you become aware of that, you can actually accept it, you can forgive or whatever has happened, exactly, and then move on.
Yes, breathing is one of the things of self-control. We have different types to work on, even emotional self-control, and one of this like to breathe consciously. And what is like amazing about like even like nature and creatures around us, there are two beings around the world who can breathe consciously. Mammals, sea mammals, because when one hemisphere is sleeping, another one is breathing, and people, human beings. And why we have this ability to, for example, gain emotional self-control, to ease your mind, and like all the like yoga, tai chi, and different kind of, even boxing, singing, come on, breathing is the main thing.
Yeah. And like we had a good discussion last week, and we were talking about like if you're living with somebody that's got a problem, and like whether it's alcoholic or gambling. I mean, there's so many different things that a person can be involved.
Of course, even workaholism, let's be honest.
Exactly, and it is, and it, like something like that I say to people as well, that like, especially workaholics, because they're beating themselves up the whole time, because when they're working, they're kind of beating themselves up. I should be with my kids, and when they're with their kids, they're beating themselves up because they're not at home. How can a person get out of that mind frame?
I will tell you, like very often, this kind of like different alcoholism, workaholism is not coming from nowhere. First of all, it can be some mental and emotional schemes, habits, which was creating or given to us by the system or by even our parents, the people who took care about us. But another thing, one of the streams in which I'm working as well in a psychotherapy, as a logotherapist and neuropsychotherapist. Like I strongly recommend you a book, Viktor Frankl's book, The Man in the Search of Meaning. This is opening, this is awakening you a lot of emotional and mental horizons. And what is like very crucial, because you feel this powerful void inside yourself, this existential void, because you never found yourself on the path of your life. You need to fulfill yourself somehow. And for some people, it will be alcohol. For some people, it will be adrenaline coming from the gambling. For some people, it will be workaholism. But this is, let's say, quasi-values. This is para-values. This is not real values. This is you're becoming slave of something which seems to be valuable for you. But what are the real values in this case? Real values are making you free. So if the person, like you see the person the closest you is like going to this direction, becoming a slave or something of alcohol, gambling, and etc., work, etc., and it can just mean that there is some powerful, painful void, existential void inside of him, and he just trying to fulfill it by different kind of acts of this values which are not values, to be honest, at the end.
It's like a form of escapism.
Yep. This is exactly this one.
So when you have a situation, because like I've witnessed all my life, both in Poland, I've seen it, and I've seen it in Ireland, where somebody has like a parent, because people, they're saying you love your parents no matter what. But if they're really bringing the household down because of their, say, drinking problem, or
for example, or manipulating you painfully,
what's the best way to deal with something
like for sure, like I will be tricky with this answer. I'm alone. I have to deal with very, let's say, painful situation in my parent, let's say, with my relationship with one of the parents, yes, which were full of aggression, manipulation. And like at some point of my life, when I was starting my own family, I decided just to quit this relationship, just for health, sanity, not only myself, but like to release this toxicity, let's call like this, to allow my family grow with different kind of, let's say, even paradigm. So, but I'm not telling you that everybody should do it. And the question is not what you should do, but who you should become to manage with this. And even if you decide to go to this relationship, which is pretty painful to you, like your partner can be manipulative, can be very toxic, whatever, yes. But if you decide even to continue to be in this relationship, I strongly recommend you to do it consciously, to choose to be. If you like to do like metaphor from Bible, you would like to hold this cross or this crown, yes, do it consciously, because you have this feeling that you have power to choose, and it's changing the quality of your life dramatically. So don't ask yourself what I should do, because very often you wouldn't find it. Don't try to follow some guidelines or golden advices of other people, because it won't lead you. You cannot live, experience your life, your emotions, your dynamic life in dynamic circumstances. You should go to the direction of who I should become to manage to deal with this toxic relationship. Maybe at some point you will decide that like who I should become will help me to relieve, let it go, yes, even. But choose consciously, choose your attitude in the circumstances which you cannot change pretty often.
And I think that because I mean, obviously we've all witnessed how a person reacts. So sometimes people start screaming, they lose their emotion, which doesn't help the situation. They just lose control. And I think if you can be kind of calm within, you can adjust the situation a lot better. And when the person kind of sees that, there's a better chance that you can help them towards recovery.
Of course, exactly. But like what's again something amazing, like you can follow the self-control, emotional self-control techniques, like to breathe, to work on your mental narrations, mental internal dialogue. But at the end, if you have this inner peace with yourself, because finally you approve who you are, what's inside of me, this darkness and light, which we already discussed, you find like nobody can touch me, because I'm fine with myself. You can even criticize me on the identity level, which is can be so painful. Like, come on, you hear from your partner, your wife, your husband, your child, your parents, something so painful that it's just like destroying you. But if you're in inner peace with yourself, you like yourself, you love yourself, you appreciate yourself, you're bulletproof. You're just bulletproof.
Like there was one thing, because my child was young when we separated, and it wasn't nice at the start, and from both directions. I mean, I wasn't in control, and my ex-partner was in control. But what I started to do was I said, okay, I'm only going to look at the positive sides, the things that I like in it. And once you kind of open that glass, instead of, because you can constantly find fault in anyone, and if that's what you're doing, your topic of conversation becomes that. Whereas if you reverse it, like we have a situation now where we haven't had an argument in 2 or 4 years. We just get on so well, and you wouldn't think it was possible. And like I see a lot of people, they use the children like a pawn, where they're bad mouthing one of the parents to the other, and it hurts when I see something like that. And like they're really damaging the child, because the child is absorbing
like
everything,
taking everything. But like you even like you're already, let's say, describe the process that it hurts you, but you're able to see some kind of even behavior of parents, and let's say you don't like it. It means that you have awareness that there's something not good in this. You have already, let's say, this part of consciousness. Oh my God, I wouldn't like to do it with my child. And very often, let's say, you see some pretty drastic situation, and for a lot of parents, it's just like, yeah, I'm doing the same. It's fine. There's nothing bad with it. The child should listen to me all the time. And from where this paradigm is coming? Because let's say the systems, again, coming back to the global awakening, the systems want you to think that you should always listen, follow the orders. And listen, who you like? I will ask you on this question: who you would like your son to become? A person who's following orders of everybody because you're, let's say, measuring him and changing him all the time, or you'd like to create an individual, extraordinary unity, which will have his own mindset, his own consciousness. He can challenge the status quo. Who do we'd like to? I'm a father of two as well, of small, and it's not easy. Let's be honest, it's not easy always to give this personal space. But who you would like to create? Yes, because you're a creator, and sometimes just to give this space. Exactly. Is growing the self-consciousness, this discovery. For some part of my life, I was thinking, now we're talking about parenthood. For some point, as a parent, I was thinking that like, I want my babies, my children to become better version of me. But there was a moment I went, whoa, stop. Because in this particular moment, I'm already judging them. I'm already putting them in my shoes, and come on, they're not me. They individual, beautiful creatures. So I should, which is as well very challenging, rise them in such an environment with such a my attitude. Yes, working on my attitude to give them space to become themselves. Because when they will become themselves, they will be happy. And I think this is the role of every parent.
No, exactly. And we actually discussed it the last day that when my daughter was deciding what she wanted to do in college, I was kind of saying, do business. And she wanted to be a teacher. And I actually I had to kind of step back and go, this is her life. She wants to be happy. And I see how much she adores being around children.
And she's happy.
And she's happy. And the world needs teachers. So she is extremely happy. You know, whereas I was kind of, my ego was getting in the way. And it was me trying to make it better, what I believed, a better life. But at the end of the day, a better life for her is what she wants.
Exactly. And like, but let's say this is such a small percentage of parents, because like at some point you live your life, you have your experiences, and at some point you can think that I know what's better for my child. But come on, and you will push this child to do this, to do that, to go to this school, to choose such a university, blah blah blah. And at the end, are you 100% sure that what you choose for your child will be the best investment? Come on, we are living in such a crazy and dynamic environment. There was coronavirus and global quarantine, yes, and some of the jobs just disappeared. Some people lost their jobs. Some people gained some jobs. Like, are you super 100% sure that where you're pushing your child, it will be beneficial in the future? In such a dynamic, you cannot tell.
Oh, exactly. And like, I know just from growing up, there was a lot of people, especially it happens in the medical industry, whereas if there's a tradition of being doctors, they push it, or
lawyers, doctors.
Exactly, lawyers. And they do it to kind of keep the parents happy. And they're miserable, and then tend to get out of it after 10 years and then follow. Like, so people have to kind of let the child, they don't own the child. They're just a vehicle to help them, bring them along. They're not, they think they own the child and you must do what I say. And it's hard for a lot of people to kind of go, no, you have your own life and I'm just here to help you.
But it's like what you're just telling right now is like one of the most difficult things, because at some point you should accept who you are. We are coming back to the self-acceptance point. You're accepting who you are, and in this particular moment, you allow your child to become him true self. Yeah. This is just working like this. And like funny that you mentioned like this miserable life, because this miserable life is not just like I'm somehow unhappy, I'm somehow happy. This existential void, which is leading to depression, which we are working in let's say, for example, in logotherapy. It's coming from this, that the people, they didn't reach this level that they know who they are. They in some kind of job which they didn't like because the parents were pushing. They in some kind of relationship because it was like this social frame told me I have to get married before 30. Yes, and I'm in some kind of very complex dimension of my life, and I'm so unhappy. And this existential void is growing, and you will go for this like some holism, like alcoholism or like gambling, just because you want to fulfill this void, but it won't happen. It will just destroy. It's destructive. And like the patients where we're working on in logotherapy approach, they coming because like I don't see the meaning in my life. And like one simple question, like, do you know who you are right now? And people like, I don't know. Do you know who you'd like to become? No, I don't. I have no idea. And this is the starting point of the cure, the curing people, helping them just understand who you are and who you would like to become. And when you will dig here inside in your heart, in your internal world of values, identity, and emotional like world, which is blocked completely around the world, you will start to see that this is the best investment in your inner world. Self-discovery is the best investment ever. This I can like give my both hands for this.
And like what I tell people is that if you're waking up on a Monday morning and you're depressed with what you're doing something wrong. You shouldn't be living for the weekend, because life is daily. You should be happy continuously. If you're doing something that you enjoy, it's not a job. You're just it's a way of surviving, you know, with food and all the other.
But like you bring in now, let's say, the subject of sadness. Like sadness is just one of the, let's say, basic emotions, and it's not happening without a meaning. Like when people, like the general in Poland, when you're sad, people are, come on, cheer up, forget about it. Like, come on, we don't accepting. There's no approval to be sad in our society, and it's so wrong. Because sadness, as we told in the beginning, this is information that something's wrong. Maybe there's some kind of personal, professional loss, which I need to digest. If I'm just gonna dig with some rationalism, with some daily activities, believe me or not, it will stay there. It's like some kind of cadaver that you're trying to dig, but at the end it will become some kind of zombie which will be eating you from inside. And more the zombies, more the rocks in your backpack, it will be just making your life more difficult. And one day you can, for example, wake up with depression. And because now the people can think like, oh, okay, it's so easy. So what you do with your sadness, you should experience it. You shouldn't judge it. You shouldn't put rationalism on it. Sometimes, let's say, if sadness is a person, you should invite him, her for tea to the table, have a conversation. And believe me or not, sometimes like 5 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day of being sad, it's better because you're not digging this demons inside of you. And sadness can tell you that you're not in the particular moment of your life where you would like to be. In sadness, emotional pain and emotional suffering, you can find your personal meaning, your existential meaning. So look how the sadness is important. But what we're doing with sadness, you shouldn't be sad. Dig it. Come on, cheer up, go for a beer, forget about it. And it's staying more and more and more, putting these rocks, these cadavers inside of you. I don't know how full you are, yes, how big you are inside, but like how much cadavers you can put there.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I think everybody, we all go through like a cycle. Each month. I mean, I know myself. Like
exactly.
There's 1 or 2 days that I have it done, and I just kind of, I don't beat myself up about it. I just and I go, okay, what I do, I'll go to the garden, and just walk barefoot on the thing and just
barefoot.
just embrace it, but not to be beating yourself up. And like even say with my child, I see the one day he just has a down day, and I see it with everybody. And it's just, I don't beat him up and go, be happy, and just let him have his kind of mood. And just on how reacting from emotions. Well, I remember when he was younger, I was collecting him from the kindergarten, and when I'd bring him, he'd fall asleep, and then I'd bring him and he was so nasty, and it used to annoy me. And like, I was like, go into your room, and then I realized he's just tired.
Oh my God.
And then I just cuddle him, and I go, come on, we sit down and lie down. And he's grand full of energy again.
And done.
So it was my fault for my reaction, thinking that there was something wrong with him. And I see that with a lot of kids, because you even see them wiping the eyes. There's little triggers that the child is tired. And the parent's reaction is getting aggressive, which in turn makes the child fight back.
Crazy cycle.
And just if you're just aware of everything you're doing and go, okay, yeah, and put your hand up. Like, I was totally at fault there, and I was blaming my child.
But like this is exactly what you're saying. Like, come on, and very often it's happening when you, as a parent, you have some goal. You have to be somewhere on the time, and the child is just maybe hungry, maybe tired, maybe the favorite hero in the book was hurt, and he's hurt as well. Yes, but you need to like this kind of sick paradigm of effectiveness. You should be effective everywhere. Yes, always boosting yourself to the maximum is let's be honest, and it's very painful for the others. And this is what you're saying, like pretty often, like as well, parental example, my daughter will hurt herself, or they do something, or there's some misunderstanding on a play yard, and she's coming, and you will just embrace her as she is in this particular emotional statement. You will like mental, emotionally give her space to experience the sadness, anger, whatever it is. Very often after 5 minutes, she's recharged and she's fully happy again child.
Yes.
But we're not allowing ourselves to feel emotions. So how we can allow other people to feel different kind of emotions? And you mentioned anger. Do you know what means like that you're angry? What kind of information it's giving? Very, very powerful. It's good to be angry because it's showing you that somebody's touching your personal frontier. It can be mental frontier. Yes, somebody is like telling you stuff which is hurting you. It can be some kind of even physical frontier. Yes, sometimes you should get angry. You shouldn't get say, as I told, anger is like one of the informations. You shouldn't get overwhelmed by this because it's just making you blind. Like every euphoric, love, lust, anger, fear, crazy fear. Everything is making you blind. It's turning off the frontal cortex. You're becoming blind. You became more stupid generally. Yeah. So you shouldn't, let's say, allow so much to emotions to control you, but you should be aware why they are coming to me, why this anger came to me. Maybe this is some emotional scheme from the past, from my parents, which is just destroying my life. Or maybe this particular person is pushing me too much and I don't like it at work, at home. So this is crazy important, but this is a very beautiful example which you mentioned.
Yeah, they're looking for the triggers, and sometimes they're trying to pull the trigger that you'll react.
Yep.
And if you can, sometimes it might, if you're in a relationship, sometimes it might mean, okay, I'm going for a walk and just getting out and just, that you're angry and you want to retaliate, but if you can control that, suppress that, and just because you've acknowledged it.
Exactly.
Instead of spiraling something like a tennis match.
And burn all the bridges which you build, relationship bridges. And this is like one of the things you just said about the anger management, because we have some strange paradigm that we should resolve the issue, the problem right here, right now. I'm so crazy, angry, you're angry, and we'll be resolving problems. Fantastic. We're both blind, let's say, and we'll be playing chess. Let's say like this. Let's resolve the problem. And this is it. You can always, like some maybe tips and tricks, emotional tips and tricks. You can always change the space and the time. Don't answer this email right away. Don't scream on somebody. Give yourself space and time. Sometimes maybe even like 15 minutes to discuss with a friend, or to go for a walk, bear walk on the grass. It's fantastic. To breathe deeply, just to change the perspective. Listen to some music which put different waves, vibes in you, will make you understand that this was irrational anger, some scheme, some trigger which is coming from something like even childhood. Or maybe you will understand, no, I get angry because he pushed me too much. You will understand that emotion is an information, very, very valuable.
Yeah, and like you mentioned about the emails, because like that has happened so many times.
Yeah.
And I get an email from someone, and that they're coming from a place of anger, and you can easily spiral it, and you might even write it out.
Oh yeah, or text message to your beloved one.
Don't press it, and then just go away. And maybe look at it next day, and when you look at it, you go, "Good job, I didn't send it."
Good Lord, I didn't send it. Yeah,
because your emotions are, you're triggered. Something's after coming up that's after, like you're saying, blind. And you're ready to go. If you can step back from that, and then by responding nice, but in a kind of assertive way that you're not being abused, right? You can totally switch a situation that you could have just ended a business relationship or anything like that just by a reaction that you give.
Yes, and like what you're describing, I would like to make a point here as well. Because like it's possible, every single human being has a potential to feel the space between the trigger and the reaction. For a lot of people who's going like automates through life, it's like trigger, action, and they don't understand that there is a space to choose your attitude towards circumstances. Yes, and this is something outstanding. Like for every single person who felt this in like that, some situation, even some drama happening in your life, but in this particular moment you were able to choose your attitude, and your action followed by the attitude at the end. You can understand, like a full stream of logotherapy is describing this, how to reach such a level of consciousness that you're able to reach this point, trigger, reaction, and you feel this space inside of you to choose adequate attitude towards the person, the situation. Yes. Yeah. This is something amazing.
I had an interview yesterday where I was a guest on another podcast. Because people that are kind of, let's call them game changers, are trying to expose the corruption, the truth tellers, I call them. You have plenty of people attacking them. People that wouldn't even
course.
comment on their picture of their kids or anything, all of a sudden they're given their full abuse.
Trolls.
And my advice to the party is don't engage. If it's really nasty, that you report it and delete. And like, because I have seen, I think it was the Tim Ferriss book, he mentions that there's like 10% of people that are going to be attacking, and you can kind of switch the 8%.
Yep. Exactly. This is like innovation theory, if I'm correct. Like there's just part of bugglers, so like I forget the name about them, which will be just attacking you because this is their lifestyle.
Yeah.
There's the 10% which will always appear in your audience just to attack you, to put some bad emotion, bad vibes in you. Yep.
And like, I believe you're better off not trying to convert them. I believe that you keep your energy positive and drive forward, and just park them. You either delete them or you just ignore. And it's happened to me. There was like people, at high level were commenting when I was exposing some of the stuff, and they're saying, "What are you doing?" And I just ignore them. And I tell people to do the same, because I think it can affect you. Because I remember I was shocked at the time, thinking, that's strange. I wasn't expecting him to be attacking me. And I think the best thing is I didn't respond, because I know if I responded, it would have been just a negative match, and then you have other people joining in.
Exactly. This is it. Once I was, let's say, I can call like this, because I'm as well a challenging status quo. I'm writing things which for people are unapprovable, unacceptable. Like how emotions are good? No, this is bull. And there's a lot of people who just following this paradigm which they were born. And like once I was a victim of very powerful hate speech. Because like when you're challenging status quo, you have this courage to challenge the status quo. People will appreciate, because you're trying, let's say, to somehow destroy their sense of security. Yes, and they want to attack you just to feel better with themselves as they are in this particular moment of their life. And I remember, let's say, it was very powerful, because I felt there was such a loud vibes in this comment. Come on, I'm sitting at my home. I'm like writing some content, creating some powerful content. Somebody writing, and you're reading this, and you have impression that the cannonball just hit you like through your stomach, and this is like this point, like, oh my God, this is the hate speech. The hate speech is crazy powerful. It's pushing people to do very bad things, to depression, like as a result of actors, celebrities who, let's say, when they're experiencing this and trying to, let's say, work, convert these people, they're just losing their energy and losing themselves in it, losing the self-esteem. But what is crucial, for example, from the emotional intelligence perspective, when you're developing your self-consciousness, emotional self-regulation, and finally emotional self-control, you're working finally on your self-esteem, and any kind of hate speech cannot reach you, because as we discussed, you're bulletproof.
Yeah.
You just understand this is the hate speech. Like, you won't touch me. You want to like to put me in the mud so much, but you won't touch me. I'm bulletproof. My inner peace is more powerful than your words.
Yeah. And like what I do sometimes is I feel that I'm wondering where they're coming from, because they have pain. Because if you're happy, you don't write horrible things. Yes. So there is pain from inside. So I just kind of acknowledge, okay, he might have been abused, he might have been whatever, because there's so many different
things. You don't know the person.
You don't know. So I just kind of acknowledge it and go, okay, this person is hurting. And I just kind of drive on and let them park in there, and hopefully they'll come out of it, or that they'll.
And I will make reference to emotional intelligence. When you have some emotional pain, emotional trauma from your past life, or experiencing in some social context some drama, and you're not digesting it, even with some specialists like psychotherapists, yes, you're not looking for help, you just have this rotten potatoes inside of you, just dealing with them, it will be radiating by your very painful and negative behaviors with other people. If I'm trying consciously to hurt you, it means like I'm like, as you said, I'm hurt enough inside of me, and I need this toxic environment to release, because my self-esteem is so low. So if I'm gonna box you a little bit, I will feel better. So like this is gonna be some kind of like internal even information feedback for you. If you're making other people lives painful, you're hurting other people, and you receive such a feedback. Let's say don't try to change these people. Like dig inside of you. Maybe there's some pain from the past or from the actual social relationship context, which is making giving you this pain.
Yeah.
So this is it.
And like the other thing then is, we all have our belief system from growing up.
Yes.
And everybody, like, I now question everything. I question, why have I such a belief? because we've been conditioned from schools, from parents, from everyone, and everybody thinks they're right, so they're all pumping you with all their belief system. So then you kind of have your thoughts, but the reality is a lot of them weren't your thoughts, they were forced on you, and then you have to reevaluate, why am I thinking this way?
This is it.
And just kind of take the layers off and try to
this is a very nice metaphor, to take these layers off, and which can be very painful, because you can have impression that it's connected to your personality and the identity, because they're the two different things, let's say connected, but two different things. It can be very painful to take out these layers. And like in the same time, but like when you finally discover, oh my God, there is true me. There is like, I don't know what is this, but this is true me. And like this is something amazing about, let's say, when you will start to follow your road, your path, and you will hear once in your life the calling of your path, you will be never ever able to stop to hear it. You can try, to go to this different workaholism and stuff, just to make it quiet, make it not so, but it will be radiating. Like, you found me, I won't leave you alone. I will be here. I'll be letting you know that I'm waiting for you. Because sometimes it's very tough decisions, maybe to cut some relationships, maybe to change completely the way I am at this point. And this is very interesting. Your brain, your mind will do everything to stay in this comfort zone, because he knows it. It knows it. That this is the part when he feels safe. Come on, you did it for 30 years, for 40 years, for 50 years. You were this person and you want to leave it. He will do everything to catch you, bring you fear, bring you different kind of panic inside of you, just to stay in this comfort zone. But when once in your life, you will make something very meaningful for somebody else or for you, you will feel the calling of the meaning. You will start to wake up. No, this is amazing.
And another thing is, like, sometimes people, if they were hurt and somebody robbed them, done something bad, people can change. I have seen people change totally, and you can actually accept that as well from people. It's happened recently with me. A guy had actually taken some money from me, and he eventually paid me back, which I admire, I respected, because a lot of times people don't. Totally changed his life around, got a very good job. And I met him, and he was like totally apologizing and saying, look, I don't know what happened to me, I was in a bad. And I know it was genuine. He has made a shift, and he's opening up. But like, I told him, it's water under the bridge, forget about it. I appreciate that you actually paid me back, and I enjoy his company. But sometimes people think, oh yeah, you close the door and keep the door closed. I believe even people in prison and everything, everyone can change. Just give them the right, the right methods of doing it. Like, I know that in the prison system, that if they do a degree, it's like only 5% return, whereas if there's nothing, it's like 80% go back to prison. So, people are just craving something that they can actually become better people. And if they're given the right tools, they have that opportunity.
Exactly. And like you're talking, like, I really appreciate your system of values, and that you're on such a level that you see it, and like you're following this, it's already inside of you. And I will make reference to logotherapy again, because if you're taking the man as he is at this particular point, he's already lost. But when you're, let's say, taking him as his potential, as the beauty of this person as he is, and treating him like this, you're already giving him space to become it. This better person. And like in a logotherapical approach, there's, if you're experiencing the goodness, the beauty, or the act of pure love, and like it's not like something esoteric, something mystical, it's like really like a psychological construct. You experience this kind of love from another person as an act. It can really make this wow effect in your life and change all of this. Like even to go to some like famous literature, like Les Miserables, yes, Victor Hugo, and the Jean Valjean, who gets such an act of kindness, which convert him, let's say, in this wow moment. Yes, so it's happening. It's possible. But look how strong you should be. How conscious you should be to allow people to see in people always this potential, even in this particular moment, the person like can hurt you. This is something unbelievable.
And like something, because like I'm conscious of the 5G and everything, and I'm telling my son, because I'm always explaining stuff. So as we're driving around, he's pointing to me, look, there's one there, in the churches and inside in signs and everything. I was like, and then I was telling him about the cameras, because we see in China, there's cameras everywhere. And he's like, there. And like he was seeing 10 times more. So then I said, all right, now we start looking for the beautiful things. What do you see in nature that's beautiful? Because you can, and I kind of say that to everyone, because you can get into the cycle where you're looking at the negatives, and you need balance. You can't be just looking at the flowers every day either. You need to realize that there's some bad things, and we can change it by being conscious of the different things, that even just by purchasing something in a shop, that you're not getting the bad. But I think you need the yin yang in everything.
You're calling yin and yang, and I will call it healthy tension on different kind of on spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical level. You need this healthy tensions, because, for example, life push you too hard, you get sick, or you lost everything. So in this particular moment, like, you should take care about yourself. You should love, appreciate yourself more. But for example, you're experiencing wealth. You shouldn't just like stay on the couch. Maybe this is the point of your life when you can, let's say, invest in your spirituality, make something good, and keep this tension of yourself in these 4 areas, just to be healthy. It's like proven, like if you're like taking care about yourself in the bad moments, or like boosting yourself to develop yourself in different areas, in these 4 areas which I mentioned, in these moments of wealth, it's keeping you more healthy, just as it is.
Yeah.
And like, what's happening? We're getting worse, so we're digging ourselves more. We're pushing ourselves to the limits, and not like giving ourselves some allowance to even feel bad for some time, as we discussed. When we are reaching some moment of wealth, we are like sitting on the couch and like, oh my God, I reached the peak of my possibilities. This is the best. This is how I want to continue. And it's never like this. No. Life is like a cycle. Yeah, exactly. It will, and just like to be ready. So this is some part of the mental resilience. To always be connected to yourself is to keep this yin and yang, so this healthy tensions in your life.
And like another thing, I think you have to look after yourself first, build yourself, understand yourself, because especially people that are in people with drugs, alcohol, they tend to the focus goes in that direction. Whereas if they can concentrate on themselves, look after for themselves, and not feel guilty because they're not looking after the father or the mother or whoever has actually got the problem, that they're looking deep inside them and they're making sure I am happy, because if I'm happy, my children will be happy.
Exactly.
There's a better chance that I can actually, kind of radiate love as opposed to anger if I'm just dealing with an angry person.
Exactly. This is this power of attitude. If you like yourself, you love yourself, you can connect honestly, create very powerful and ecological relationship with other people. If you respect yourself in a good way, I'm not talking about some narcissism. You respect yourself, you are able to respect other people. If you're giving yourself space to make mistakes, you're forgiving yourself for this. You're able to forgive other people. If you're feeling empathy for yourself, you're able to feel empathy for other people. It's like it's connected. But if there is some deep hell happening inside of you, it will radiate. You can go for workshops like typically connected to the behavior, the best method to have healthy relationship. Yeah, sounds familiar. The best method to be like this, to attract women, blah 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 blah. And it's one big bull. Because if there's hell inside of you, it will sooner or later grow, radiate. It will go out from you, and this facade will just crash. But when you have this inner peace here, this everything, these components which we just described, like your life will respond. And this is not some, let's say, secret law of attraction. It's just when there's so much beauty happening inside of you, you start to see it, you start to produce it, and you start to attract events and people who feels you like, wow, Roy is such a fantastic person. Like, I want to be in touch with him. This is working like this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got people all over the world. Just from going to events, you attract the same kind of people. And it's just like I could pick up the phone and I know that I could go to 50 houses around the world and they would welcome me, open the door and go, and they would put me up for as long as I wanted. And I've told them as well, they're welcome to come here.
Oh, this is valuable.
Yeah.
This is valuable. You will attract these people just by being yourself, finding yourself and accepting yourself inside. But everything's like this is amazing. Like even in our discussion, like so we proved the test is that when you're digging inside, you have this courage to dig inside of you, to see this light, this darkness, approve it, accept it, love who you are. It's bringing outstanding potential in your life. You don't need to change who you are, because actually you do not know who you are in this moment. And when this self-consciousness is growing, emotional, spiritual, connected to the values and the personal meaning, you see the areas when you want to take proactively the responsibility. You see the global problems. It's like some eyes opener. Yes, I see. You see the paradigm, painful paradigm. So more you're working with yourself, internal world, more, let's say, you see around yourself. No, it's a beautiful experience, but not easy, and sometimes painful, because you have to crush some other people paradigms. Sometimes a relationship, let's say. No, but this path will be calling you all your life. Yeah. It's a process.
And like, just say around about the global, or like for me, I listen to what's being told to us, what's being fed to us, and look at alternatives, and I can kind of digest every single thing that's out there, and I go, this makes more sense. They were saying you had global cooling, you know, you global warming, you know, you've this, and then you look at a scientist that has proven that this is a cycle that's happened, and you go, okay, so this is actually, and they've doctored the figures, but people don't want to hear that, because if they've got into their head, I want to be, you know, fight global warming, they start attacking people that actually are exposing the truth.
Yes.
So I think by just digging deep, you don't look at something and start believing it. You just
right away, because psychologists told, and oh yeah, I believe it. Like statistics told, oh yeah, I believe it. Let's go follow this. No.
Even the reports from the pharmaceutical industry, they could do 3,000 people, and they will take the 10 best, and that's their report. And people are going based on that, and they start. A lot of the times, people will copy and repeat what was actually said.
We are following here as well, like I'm making different kind of trainings, like assertiveness trainings as well, and defend from the manipulation trainings, not only emotional intelligence trainings. And pretty often, like we are working on Robert Cialdini's rules of influence, and like this is the using everything. Let's wear some actor and some clothes of doctor or pharmacist. Yeah, told him that 90% of this society is using this kind of pills, and like, oh yeah, sounds so true, sounds so good. Yes, and pay some doctors just to sell it and tell that this is fantastic cure, and it's just doing nothing. Yes, like this is, let's say, I would say it's some point, some moral and financial corruption, which like step by step making the system just more influencing on you. But this is why we need this awakening moment in our lives to understand that I don't want this, I don't need this. So what I need, who am I at this particular point, and follow this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the exact story, but I remember there was a lot of gurus repeating information. They were saying this was a study from Yale. And it's actually a Polish guy had proven that it was all made up. Somebody had made it up, and everyone.
But it sounds so awesome, isn't it?
And everybody started like, I'm talking top gurus saying this. So then everybody repeats it. So I want people to be conscious of, just because everyone is repeating something doesn't mean it's true.
Of course. And what is the truth? Something what is, let's say, true for one person can be completely opposite for you, because it's such a subjective construct, the truth. Yes. So you should challenge the status quo, but with let's say very loud self-consciousness, you cannot. You're just following the road, like a train who has like bus stops. You're not like a autonomic car or whatever, which can, let's say, choose the destination. You're always following this. Yes. No, but this moment of awakening is amazing. I think every single one of us has potential to have it in our life, to this revolutionary. Wow.
And to be honest with you, that's why I wanted you on the show, because I think it's all part of the journey. To become awake, you need to go through what we've discussed today.
Yeah,
it's very. There's one thing that because you mentioned about narcissists, I have seen a few narcissists. What's the best way to deal with them?
Like,
it is a hard one. I mean,
it's the hard one, and I will be honest with you, because when I'm making this, even like assertiveness or defend from manipulation trainings, like, we should be honest. At some point, it's a sickness. Yeah. It's not like just some kind of behavior. Somebody love him too much. It's already at some point some sickness which can like boost aggressive, manipulative, abusive behaviors in other people. So like, if you're like, you're aware at some point you're receiving feedback that you're doing something wrong, or you have a person, very often this person just should look for help. You at some point you can like do your best, but if it's a sickness, come on, you should treat it like a depression. It's not like it's so painful for me that so much people still thinking that depression is just some kind of laziness. It's a real sickness which should be treated. When you have some problems with heart, whatever, stomach, you're going to the doctor, yes. And when your soul, let's say, is in pain, like you should just, no. But this is one of these paradigms that like emotions, it's like one big, it's just for women,
get out of bed, come on, brush yourself off, go.
Exactly, and it's just making it worse.
Yeah.
Just make it worse. So they like from this approach to narcissism, it's let's say part of the sickness which should be treated. I'm not saying like with like might get like some drugs or whatever. No. But like to go to the specialist, to the expert, who will first of all diagnose it, because it can be narcissism, but it can be, for example, some kind of mechanism, self-defense mechanism from the past, because somebody has trauma. It's so diverse. Even like when talking about depression, it can have so much different paths to it. Yeah. So like you should be asking questions, looking. And like the final goal should be like you should like respect yourself in all of this as a person or as an expert psychotherapist, but as well the main goal, the main intention, to find the best way to help this person, not to sell something, not to introduce something because it's valuable from financial or for different influencing perspective, but to help people, to spread the goodness. And my God, it's a life changer.
Listen, it's been wonderful.
Wow, I'm excited as well after this.
So how can people get in contact with you?
I will leave my credentials under your podcast. I have my webpage. I'm available as well on LinkedIn, and I'm like constantly making different kind of posts, things which can, let's say, dig into the subjects, like the emotional intelligence, identity, and finally meaning and value. So if some of you're interested, or let's say you felt, wow, this is for me, I'll be more than happy to get contact with you and like to start this journey, maybe even together.
Brilliant. So
fantastic. Thank you very much. Great pleasure to be here. Thank you, guys.
So that's all for today. You'll find all our episodes on awakeningpodcast.org. Until next week, take care.
Take care.